Alright guys, you have a test tomorrow, so let's go over our second review together. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we are using the quadratic formula to solve these quadratic equations. The first thing that we have to do is we have to get this equal to 0. So we're going to do the opposite of add 6, so that's minus 6 on each side. So now we have 2n squared plus 12n minus 110 equals 0. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to use our quadratic equation, or our quadratic formula. So that's, I'm going to write it over here. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, so that's when our equation is in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So in this formula, my x's are actually n's, okay? So really, my a is my 2, my b is my 12, and my c is my negative 110. So I'm going to plug those numbers into my equation. So negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, so multiply, all over 2a. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to simplify the discriminant. So the radical, remember this is the discriminant. Okay, so we still have our cute little negative 12 out in front, and underneath here we have 4. And then inside my radical, I have, oops, oh heavens, 12 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 110. And that gives me 1024. Okay, so then I'm going to take the square root of 1024, and I get 32. So I really have negative 12 plus 32 over 4. And I have negative 12 minus 32 over 4. So we're going to reduce our fractions. Negative 12 plus 32 is 20, divided by 4 is 5. And negative 12 minus 32 is negative 44, divided by 4 is negative 11. So my two answers are 5 and negative 11. Okay, let's do another one. Let me zoom out. I want you to be able to see the problem, but heaven, so small. Okay, how about that? Alright, so let's do this again. Okay, this is not in the correct form. Remember, it needs to be in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So we're going to move some stuff around over here first. So we're going to start by subtracting the 2n from its like term. Then we minus the 11n. I don't have another n over here, so we're just going to put that over there. And then I got to minus my 4 from each side. So negative 3 minus 2 is negative 5n squareds. I don't have another n, so my negative 11 just hangs out. 6 minus 4 is 42, and that is equal to 0. So again, this is my a value, my b value, my c value for my quadratic formula. So I'm going to plug it in. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, remember, when your b is negative, it's a negative negative. So really, I have a positive 11 plus minus, and then I do my discriminant next, so all that junk on the inside is scooted over. Oh, yay! Okay. So now we have negative 11 squared. Make sure the squared goes on the outside, okay, and not on the inside, or else it'll mess you up. Minus 4 times negative 5 times 42 is equal to 961. And if I take the square root of 961, I get 31. Oh, that's great. Okay, over negative 10. So really, I have 11 plus 31 over negative 10. And 11 minus 31 over 10, negative 10. Okay, then we simplify. 11 plus 31 is 42 over negative 10. And 11 minus 31 is negative 20 over negative 10. Then divide. 42 divided by negative 10, oh no, is negative 4.2. And negative 20 divided by negative 10 is 2. So these are your two answers. Okay, so now we're going to keep going. Okay, number 6. Alright, so again we want this in the correct form, so we're going to add 11k squareds to each side. And then negative 4 plus 11 is going to give us our 7k squareds. Minus k minus 24 is equal to 0. Okay, so now we're going to plug in a, b, and our c values into our quadratic equation, or formula, sorry. I always say the wrong thing. Okay, so x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, so now we have positive 1 plus minus the square root. So it's just a plug and chug. Negative 1 squared minus 4 times 7 times negative 24 is 673 all over 14. So now I'm going to see if 673 reduces. No, it does not. So I have 1 plus the square root of 673 over 14 and 1 minus the square root of 673 all over 14. So those are my two answers because my 673 does not reduce. Okay, and then finally, number 8. Again, this is not in the correct form, so I'm going to start by subtracting n and getting everything over here. So now we have 3n squared, and I also want to write it in the correct order. Minus n minus 7 is equal to 0. This is my a, my b, and my c. Okay, x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Okay, so now I have 1 plus minus the square root. So negative 1 squared minus 4 times negative 3 times negative 7 is negative 83 over negative 6. Okay, so then I cannot take the square root of a negative number. So I'm going to write it over here. Sorry, there's a little lag on my video for today. So we've got the square root of negative 83 really breaks down to the square root of negative 1 times the square root of 83. The square root of negative 1 is I, and let's just double check. The square root of 83 cannot be reduced. So it stays as I root 83. So I'm going to split into my two fractions. I have 1 plus I root 83 over negative 6. And 1 minus I root 83 over negative 6. So if you could reduce here, you would. So for example, let's just say that I had 2 plus 8 I root 6 over 4. So this one would reduce because each of my numbers is divisible by 2. And when I'm talking about each of my numbers, I'm talking about this leading guy, and then this leading guy, and then this guy. So these three only. They have to all be divisible by the same number, so or have the greatest common factor. So these guys all have the greatest common factor of 2. 2 goes into 2 one time, 2 goes into 8 4 times, and 2 goes into 4 twice. Sorry. Okay, my radical 6 does not reduce because this guy is a special number. But if you write this answer in for your final answer, this is wrong because it can reduce to this guy. So this is what I'm looking for. If you are able to reduce, then you must reduce, okay? We don't want to leave anything unreduced. Please let me know if you have any questions. Have a great day. Bye, guys.